The first shots of the movie are a prologue and metaphorically tell us about the events that will take place at the end of the movie. A girl in a wedding dress tearing through dark threads, a mother panicking to save her child. Birds falling from the sky, lightning bolts flying out of fingers, a planet slowly coming towards the Earth. All these shots either reflect the inner state of the characters or their real actions. All this is accompanied by the overture from Wagner's Tristan und Isolde. Part 1 is titled Justin. The girl we have already seen in the prologue is riding with her fiancé Michael in a limousine. The heroine is amused that the car can't get through because of its size, and the driver unsuccessfully repeats the same action, hoping that the car will be able to get out. Eventually Michael gets behind the wheel and, having failed, lets Justine try. The laughing girl tries to drive out of the impasse. However, the newlyweds are not up to the task and decide to make their way to the venue on foot. They are met at the door by a distraught Claire, Justine's sister, and her husband John. The woman rebukes the newlyweds for being late and tells them that things are not going according to plan. Before entering the house, Justine notices a strange star in the sky. John, a star expert, says it is the star Antares. At the last moment, the girl escapes from her sister again and says that she wants to see Abraham. Michael runs after her and learns that this is the name of Justine's favorite horse. The groom watches with a smile at how affectionately and sensually the heroine communicates with the animal. Justin finally gets to the wedding and greets Gabi's parents and Dexter. The newlyweds sit down at the table and John makes a toast. After a while, Gabi tells her daughter that she's not going to make a speech. Meanwhile, Dexter finds an amusing amusement. He hides spoons from the table and scolds the waiter, saying that his companions were not served. Unexpectedly, Justine's employer, Jack, decides to make a toast. The man says that the employee and her ideas have always been chic, but apparently from strong feelings for Michael she abandoned work. Despite this, Jack decides to promote Justine to art director. Dexter is the next toast, but he soon moves from congratulating his daughter to criticizing her mother. Gabi says she's not oppressive, praises Claire for organizing the party, and sits down without a word about Justine's happiness. Her sister notices that the bride is out of sorts and takes her to the library, asking her not to make a scene. However, Justin can't cope and hide his feelings, so she runs outside and drives off in a golf car. The girl watches the stars again, but Antares disappears from the sky. The wedding officiant is worried about the bride's long absence, but Justin returns to the hall. Michael gives a toast to the bride, but does so a little offhandedly. Afterward, Claire suggests that the guests move to the living room. The dancing begins, and Justin regains his senses and has fun. Seeing that John's son is falling asleep, the heroine offers to carry him to bed. After a while, Claire enters the room and sees that her sister has fallen asleep. The woman wakes her up and says that not even half of the wedding has not yet passed, and she should be happy about the celebration. Justin says she feels like she's dragging herself through wool yarn that clings to her legs. In response, Claire asks her sister not to tell Michael about anything. The guests wait for the bride to appear to cut the cake, but Justine decides to take a bath and lies detachedly in the water. John asks her mother to come downstairs, but Gabi refuses. This infuriates the man. He complains to Claire and then decides to kick her mother out altogether. The newlyweds cut the cake, and Michael notices that his fiancée seems unwell. He apologizes to Justine for his inattention and takes her to room. There Michael gives the girl a picture of the garden that grows near their house. Justine thanks him, but does not take the gift seriously. Then the bride encounters John, who quarrels with her, saying that he spent a lot of money on the celebration. Walking out to the guests, Justin puts on a fake smile and dances relaxedly alone. Jack introduces the girl to his nephew Tim, who has just recently started a job. The boss tells the young man that he has to get Justine's slogan by all means or he'll be fired. Claire fights with her sister and says that she is lying to all of them and she doesn't need this wedding. Upset, Justine cries because no one cares about her feelings and their reasons. They only demand that she be happy with the wedding. The girl comes to her mother and tells her that she is scared, but Gabi just chases her away. In the hall, the even more lost heroine has a drink and begins to rejoice to please everyone. The guests go out to the golf course and launch sky lanterns with wishes for the newlyweds. The couple retire to the bedroom, and Michael begins to persistently molest Justine, ignoring her condition and requests to stop. The girl says that she will be back soon, and goes to the golf course, where she gets close to Tim. The heroine then returns to the house, and dances with her father. When Dexter wants to leave, Justin asks him to stay with tears in his eyes. The bride has a conversation with her boss and insults him. She says that Jack is self-serving and will stop at nothing, which is why he and his company disgust her. Approaching the house, Justine sees Jack about to leave. The heroine does not stop him, although she realizes that this is most likely the end. The girl tries to talk to Claire, but she gets angry and says that she hates her sister. Before going to bed, Justine decides to stop by her father, but sees that he has abandoned her and left for his own place. The next morning, Claire finds her sister asleep in the living room and offers her a horseback ride. Justin says that she was really trying not to ruin the holiday. During the ride, the heroine notices that there is no longer a red star in the sky. The second part is titled Claire. A woman is doing her usual chores around the house when John brings her her phone. The man is not happy that Justin stays in their house and is a bad influence on Claire and their son, Leo. It turns out that the woman has started to worry about the approaching planet because many people think it's the end of the world. John tries to calm his wife and assures her that everyone will be alive. Claire picks up her sister from the cab. Now Justine looks even more lethargic and barely alive, she can hardly move. Claire takes care of the girl, helps her take a bath, and cooks her favorite meatloaf. However, Justine begins to cry and says the food tastes like ashes. Claire calms her sister down and asks her to take her upstairs. Little Leo decides to dispel his aunt's sadness and shows her Melancholia. It's a planet that has been hiding behind the sun and is now approaching Earth. He is interrupted by Claire, however, and says that he shouldn't scare his aunt with it. Justin replies that if sister thinks that she is afraid of this planet, then she is just stupid. After a while, the girl feels better and helps Claire in the garden. Suddenly it begins to snow, and the heroine sincerely enjoys it. Justine's appetite and interest in horses returns. John says he bought some things in case Melancholia passes too close to Earth, and asks the girl not to tell Claire about it, as she scares easily. The sisters decide to go horseback riding, and Abraham suddenly stops obeying Justine. From this, the girl treats the animal cruelly, and Claire tries to stop her. In the sky, Justine notices Melancholia approaching. While the rest of the family rejoices at this event, Claire is troubled. At night, the woman notices her sister sneaking out of the house and lounging under the rays of Melancholia. The next day, Leo shows off his invention that can be used to see the planet approaching Earth. At night, Claire looks at Melancholia through a telescope and, feeling anxious, and decides to read about it on the internet. On one of the sites, the woman sees a scary thing. It turns out that Melancholia's flight path is not exactly as scientists imagine it to be, and after moving away from Earth, the planet will then return and crash exactly into it. The terrified woman calls out to John, and he ensures that Melancholia will simply pass by and there will be no collision. However, Claire continues to feel anxious. The next day, she buys strong pills from the drugstore and hides them in her closet. The more nervous and twitchy Claire becomes, the less apathetic and lethargic Justine seems. John's wife tries to convince her sister and herself that Melancholia will pass by the planet today and there is no need to worry or fear anything. Suddenly, Justin says that Earth is evil and there is no need to grieve over it. The girl assures him that she knows a lot, and they are completely alone in the universe. Hearing that her sister thinks the Earth is doomed, Claire panics even more. Leo runs to the woman and tells her that the planet will be closest to Earth at night, and John has given him permission to look at it and go to bed later. At the appointed time, all the residents of the house went out to the golf course to enjoy the incredible sight. After the planet passes by, John offers a drink to life. Angry Claire is offended that he didn't tell her about the possible threat and errors in calculations. The man tries to reassure his wife and says that the planet is moving away, but it's just hard to see with the naked eye. To make sure, Claire uses Leo's invention and notices that Melancholia is indeed getting smaller. The woman cries with relief and hugs John. Claire talks to Justine and says that she imagined the worst and therefore almost went crazy, unlike her sister. The next day, the woman enjoys the weather and talks affectionately with John, who for some reason looks worried. Claire falls asleep on the chair and wakes up not seeing her spouse. She decides to use Leo's invention again, just in case, to see if Melancholia is moving further away from Earth. Suddenly, the woman notices that the planet is rapidly approaching. Claire panics and calls for her husband, looking for him all over the house. Justin says that the horses have somehow calmed down, even though the planet was disturbing them. Entering the stable, Claire notices her spouse, who can no longer be helped. The woman covers him with hay and tries to go about her usual business. When Justin asks about John, Claire lies that he has gone to the country. The planet is approaching faster and faster, causing the woman to panic. Claire grabs her son and tries to start the car, gripped by the desire to escape and get away from danger. A nonchalant Justine watches these attempts and tries to calm her sister down. Claire says they need to go to the countryside and drives off in the golf car. She eventually returns with Leo in her arms, realizing that there is no hiding from disaster. In the kitchen, Claire offers to meet Melancholia on the terrace with a glass of wine by turning on some music, but Justin says it's disgusting. The crying woman is left alone in the kitchen. Meanwhile, Justin tells Leo that they can save themselves in a magical place, they just need to build it. Together with the boy, she gathers branches from the forest and builds a sort of tent from them. Justin brings there a frightened and barely mobile Claire, who cries at the sight of her son. Her sister, meanwhile, feels serene, realizing that all her troubles will soon come to an end. Justin takes the sobbing sister and her eyes-closed son by the hands, and melancholy engulfs them. This is the end of the movie. Thank you all for watching this video to the end. Give this video a like. Write in the comments what you think about this movie, and see you in new videos.